Hello, everybody. We're going to be looking at Google Maps here at the Eglin Air Force Base complex. It's a rather large area that houses several old abandoned airfields and several active airfields. It's part of the Panhandle in Florida and it's just east of Pensacola. And we'll start looking here. Now, the reason why I'm concentrating on Eglin Air Force Base today is that it's got a lot of history and it's got a huge bomb range here. And back in the day, the late 50s, early 60s, they used to have these huge air show displays here with live bombing demonstrations. And of course, they don't do things like that anymore. I think that's pretty interesting and something kind of old school they don't do anymore. Here's the main Eglin Air Force Base complex. It has subsidiary airfields attached to this facility. It's got 3 different runways here. These little hangars here would house all the F-15s or F-22s or something like that. Now if you zoom out, you see all these little satellite fields around here. Some of them you can't barely make out, but they used to be runways there. Here's one. I think this is one that's of interest because some of these old auxiliary abandoned airfields still have airplanes on them. Like this one right here. Very interesting. All right, I'm going to show this first. It's right here. That is F-89 Scorpion. Very rare airplane. And there's a hulk of one sitting out on an old runway. Too bad someone couldn't save that, even though it's pretty much derelict. It's, something there that could be saved for some sort of display. Over here, west of the F-89, there's it's a F-101 Voodoo aircraft, and she has the nose is not there on this aircraft. There's some piles of airplane parts. I can't tell. That kind of looks like a fuselage off F-4 Phantom. A bunch of like drop tanks here. There's these are 2 T-33 Shooting Stars. Right here. This, I'm not sure what that is. There's another F-101 Voodoo. And that looks like a F-4 Phantom. Some tanks here, and armored vehicles. One of these airfields was the site of the Doolittle raid practicing their short field takeoffs to prepare for taking off on the USS Hornet aircraft carrier. This place is very interesting, kind of eerie too. Something from the past that just little remnants of the past is still there. Now abandoned and forgotten, it seems. Let's see, we're going to go over here. See, check this out. I'm not exactly sure what this is. Probably another bombing range area, perhaps. No, this here is the main bomb range. I mean, if there's video of B-36s dropping on this range, and they would carpet bomb for like 3 or 4 miles. So many bombs a B-36 could carry. There's another airfield right there, subsidiary auxiliary field. Look at that. Look at that right there. There's a ramp with some airplanes. There's some more F-101 Voodoos and F-4 Phantom. Look at that. That's cool. This looks like it's been used more recent than the other location we just looked at. Where is it? Right there. Is this here? You see, that's a bombing range too. That's a smaller bombing range. You can see there's seems like bomb craters and some ordnance leftovers kind of scattered throughout this field. Yeah, this is the main bombing range. This has been used for years since the Cold War, as far as I know. A huge crater right there. That has a big bomb crater. Yeah, this is where there's some YouTube videos out there of late 50s air shows, air demonstrations. Just about every uh, aircraft in the U.S. Air Force inventory doing bombing demonstrations here for the public. I really wish I was born during that time to be able to watch something like that. That would have been amazing. All the history here is just insane. There's a little airport here. Looks like nothing's there. There's an old, you can still see remnants of an old runway. A taxiway right there. Maybe revetments right there, perhaps. There's just all kind of taken over by vegetation. Who knows? Is that there? Oh. Thing of the past. The past is always around us. We just don't know it sometimes. A little glimpse of the past. This is a road. The whole complex is huge. It takes up so much area. This is Duke's Field here, Duke Field. That's still in use, as you can see. There's a subway. There's some C-130s on the ramp. This looks like maybe it used to be an airfield. I don't know if that's remnants of an old runway and now used as a parking lot. All right, everybody, we're back. I just had to take a quick cut to check my notes here, but this here is Wagner Field. This is the auxiliary field at Eglin Air Force Base Complex that the Doolittle Raiders practice their short field takeoffs and their B-25Bs. And This section here is new, but this triangular runway pad is where they practiced their short field takeoffs for preparation for taking off the USS Hornet aircraft carrier. And we'll just look around here real quick. And I read that there's some markers still here on the runways from the Doolittle use of it. And I think I see some of these markers now. They're pretty faded. But there's one right there. I see a painted line. He painted lines across the runways in certain sections. No. One was there or not. There's this line here, but it looks like it was recently painted. You can kind of see where maybe some lines were right there and there. There's another one right there. Just markers. Yes, yeah, it looks like a line right there too. Unfortunately, all those Doolittle Raiders have since passed. Last one passed recently. Very sad. Those were amazing guys. And look at an area where they were at with their B-25Bs practicing for one of the most famous aerial raids in World War II. Just those guys were amazing. May they never be forgotten. Just to look at something from the past like this is, it fills me with a sadness that they're gone now. But just looking at something like this, an old runway, is just like going back through time. And it's a little eerie too, because just think all the activity, this airfield was seeing. The greatest generation at work. Really, we'll never see a bunch of people like those of the greatest generation again. Just amazing people. It's really sad for me to know many of them are gone now. But yeah, parts of them are still here with us, like this airfield. The little remnants of our past heroes, leaving a little reminder for us about what they did and the sacrifices they gave and made. If those concrete pads could talk, right? Things aren't the same like they used to be, that's for sure. Because I don't even think there's any B-25B models flying anymore. I think the most recent models closest to the B is the D model. I think there's a couple D models being flown. There's no B models, B-25s. So just knowing that there was B-25Bs here at one time practicing for one of the most famous raids in World War II is very humbling and interesting and a little bit emotional, really. A little bit emotional. But moving on, a little pay our homage to the little Raiders. Right, going see, going southeast here. I saw something here. I have to find it. No, that's not it. Yeah, this is it right here. I think this is some sort of. Well, here's another airfield. Here you can see 2 runways here. Maybe remnants of some sort of taxiway in between right there, or revetments or something. There's a ramp down there. But right here, it seems like some sort of gun range. Because seems like some sort of gun emplacements there. Maybe for tanks or ground personnel, I'm not sure, but some sort of gun range. The computer screen doesn't seem to want to focus right now, so I'm sorry for the bad video view. Maybe look at this. It's just nothing's left of it. Just if all these places could talk. And look at that right there. There's some more airplane parts right there. What is that? Looks like a wing. It's a straight wing, maybe off of a C-130. A vertical stabilizer, it looks like to me. Yeah, so some of these fields still have some old airplanes on there. As far as the F-101 Voodoos that we were saying, those are very forgotten aircraft. The McDonnell F-101 Voodoo is a very forgotten Cold War interceptor jet. A lot of people don't even know what an F-101 is anymore. It's very forgotten aircraft. And here at this Eglin Air Force Base complex, they got several Hulks just laying out various places. Those T-33s are old too. They're out there. Here's another field here we don't look at, I don't think. It's got a couple F-4 Phantoms. They're old too now. The U.S. don't fly them anymore. There's a couple Heroes sitting out there in the old abandoned runway. Here's a C-130. It's got an old paint job on it. It looks kind of fresh though. And down here, I saw some F-15s and F-16s. That looks like a big arrow right there, doesn't it? Well, I'm sure there's a lot more areas we could look at, but I think that's good for today. Doing a little browsing around the Eglin Air Force Base complex and some of the surrounding subsidiary fields and bombing ranges. I love history, and you know, the past is always with us because there's always remnants of the past. And the past is always alive. And I think it's great we all try to preserve that history because eventually a lot of the history disappears. But it's great that some of it is still around and that we can actually see it and touch it. And it warms up our hearts because a lot of us long for the past and memories and people that we love dearly. The past helps us remind us of those people and the things that they went through and the things that they taught us to how to live life the best that we can. And I just think the history of the past is very interesting, and I personally feel very in tune with the past. You know, I'm not the oldest person, so there's a lot of things I haven't lived through the experience. So, looking at studying the past is one avenue to be able to try to experience something of a time that you never lived through. And I think that's kind of why I'm a history buff. I can't build a time machine, but there are ways to see the past, and remnants of the past is always with us. So I thank you, and have a good day.